Adrian. Today I'm here to bring you some audiobook recommendations. I am visually impaired. For those of you who don't know, I have a couple of videos about that. I'll leave it in the description box below in case you're interested. But because of that, I have to do a lot of audiobooks. I think I do about half reading, half audio. Of the 40 books that I've read so far this year, 21 of them were audiobooks. The reason I haven't done one of these before is because I used to only use a free subscription that I get for being blind and visually impaired for books from my country, and a lot of those books are Dutch, so they're no use to you. This year I started a subscription with Scribs, or Scribes, however you want to call it. Doesn't really matter to me. But since I started that, I have some actual mainstream audiobooks that I can share with you that I really enjoyed. English ones and the ones that are official audiobooks, not just read aloud by some boring person. This is not a sponsored video, by the way, but I do want to talk a little bit about Scribs if you have not yet heard of them. It's a subscription with unlimited, I say between quotation marks, audiobooks and ebooks. I have enjoyed their subscription very much. I will say though, and I don't know if this is just like something to do with my account settings, I have contacted customer service, but I can only read 2 or 3 audiobooks per month, like the mainstream audiobooks, the more popular audiobooks, and then you're kind of left with the leftovers, which is still great. I mean, there's lots of books that you can read, but you can't read the most popular books very often at any rate. I don't know if this is just me. So for those of you who listen to an audiobook like I do, you might be a little bit disappointed. But if you're just listening to 1 or 2 audiobooks a month, this might be for you. I personally think that it's better than Audible because you get to listen to more books and it's a lot cheaper. The only thing is you don't get to keep the books. With Audible, you actually purchase the books that you have read, so you get to keep them. I only really listen to a book once, so it doesn't really matter if it's on the server and I don't get to keep it personally. I could care less about that. So I personally like it. But enough about that. Let's talk about my favorite audiobooks. But first, I want to tell you all the audiobooks that I've actually read this year. The audiobooks that I've read this year are Allegedly by Tiffany D. Jackson, Let's Pretend That Never Happened by Jenny Lawson, Talking as Fast as I Can from Gilmore Girls to Gilmore Girls by Lauren Graham, They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera, The Land of Stories by Chris Colfer, All Our Wrong Todays by Elan Mastai, The Princess Diarist by Carrie Fisher, The Child Thief by Bram, Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman, Sleeping Giants by Sylvain Neuvel, For Everyone and The Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds, The Dream Giver by Bruce Wilkinson, Beautiful Creatures by Cami Garcia and Margaret Stoll, and The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. Obviously there's not 21 books in this list. Some of the books that I read I actually did read on my Dutch subscription because they weren't available to me in English and I really wanted to read them so I could listen to them in Dutch, so I didn't include those. Those are the books that I've read in English that are actual official audiobooks. So now I'm going to talk about my 5 recommendation books. A lot of these are books that are read by the author themselves. I personally really enjoy those. If you are new to audiobooks, I recommend listening to a book that is read by the author, him or herself, because they're read with the tonality that the author intended, and it just makes for a more interesting reading experience. But that's just my personal opinion. I'm not going to talk about any of these books in details. I'm going to talk more about the audiobook than the book itself. I have talked about all these books either in a book review or a wrap-up, or both. I will leave them down in the description box below so you can go check those out if you want to know more information about the book. Coming in at number 5 is The Land of Stories by Chris Colfer. This is one of my favorite books. I love this book. This one was read by Chris Colfer himself. This one actually made it on my mid-year top 10, and I have a book review for this if you're interested. For those of you who have watched Glee, Chris Colfer plays Kurt, and he is a wonderful actor, and he did this book so phenomenally. I love the story itself, but I just did think that Chris did a wonderful job with this because of his acting experience, and he just made for a enjoyable reading experience. This is a kid's book, and I think that might be why that I enjoyed it so much, because he's just got such a happy voice. Number 4 was a non-fiction that I really enjoyed, and that was Talking as Fast as I Can from Gilmore Girls to Gilmore Girls by Lauren Graham. This is another one that was read by the author herself. Lauren talks a lot about her journey on Gilmore Girls, but what I really loved about this one is the truths that Lauren spoke about life in general. It wasn't only about Gilmore Girls. I do recommend this if you are a Gilmore Girls fan. I think you'll enjoy it a little bit more, but she did talk a lot about the way we go about doing life, and I thought that that was really well done. The way that she brought it over was very inspiring. I love this book. Obviously, it's in the list. I would recommend reading the book along with the audiobook for this one though. I personally didn't, but there was a lot of pictures in it that she talked about that I didn't see because I didn't read the book. So for this one, I would say get it from the library, or if you have it, read it, but listen to the audiobook along with it because I think that would make a great pairing. Coming in at number 3 was Allegedly by Tiffany Jackson, read by Bonnie Turpin. This is another narrator that I think does really well. Bonnie also did They Both Died at the End, and which almost made it on this list. Almost, I would consider that book number 6, and she did that one very well as well. This one has to do with a girl who may or may not have committed a murder, and she does it in such a way that you keep wondering what is going on and what's gonna happen. A lot of audiobooks I've listened to, I feel like you could either read or listen to the book, but this one I really think you should listen to. I think she did such a good job, and she brings an extra bit of oomph to the book that I think it may not have had without her reading it. Number 2 is All Are Wrong Todays by Elan Mastai. This one is again read by Elan Mastai himself, and this one was just fantastic. This one, especially towards the end, it gets mind-blowing, and you have a lot of different personalities that come out in this book that he did so well. The only thing about this one is there's one chapter where he does nothing but shoot off the F-bomb. Literally, that's the only thing that's in the chapter, except maybe 1 or 2 other curse words. So if you have children, don't listen to this book while there's children present, because not a good thing. And finally, coming in at number 1 is Sleeping Giants by Sylvain Neuvel. This is a full cast narration, and this one made number 1 because had I not read this one and listened to it by audio, I would not have enjoyed this book, I don't think. Because of all of the different full cast, you really get a grip on who's who, and they bring a certain personality to the book that maybe I wouldn't have had, but especially because this one's told through like interviews, and I don't feel like the format of the book itself compared to Illuminate. I was comparing it, probably shouldn't have, because sort of apples and oranges, but I was comparing it nonetheless, so it wouldn't have been my favorite book. Go listen to Sleeping Giants. This is another one that I recommend you read along with the audiobook, which is what I did, and it turned out really well. So that's this round of recommended audiobooks. I'll probably do another one once I've read another 15 or 20 audiobooks or so. I'm not sure that I'll do these every 6 months. Kind of depends on how fast I go with the audiobooks. If you have a favorite audiobook that you've listened to recently, leave it down in the comments below so that I can go check it out, because I'm always looking for new ones that I think would add to my reading experience. If you enjoy audiobook recommendation videos, give this video a big thumbs up so that I know to do them more frequently. If you have not yet, I would love for you to subscribe, and don't forget to check out the giveaway video up here. If you have not yet entered, today is the last day you can do so. So go check it out, because I am giving away a fantastic prize, if I do say so myself. That's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye.